It's immigration, trans ideology, and abortion.
Now, hello. As you may see, Leek has come on to have a kind of, we'll say, triumphant bullshitting session by the fact that he thinks Gavin Noon agrees with him, right? Now, as many knows, like we went our separate ways quite a long while ago, I've said very little about it because of the fact that I just didn't want the fucking hassle of it, right? Overall, as a group, we overall didn't want the hassle of it. But there is no one calling Leek a fascist due to anything else but what Leek himself is fucking spouting. Right? That's just it. I think part of the inspiration of this is seemingly lately anti-fascists have compiled a list of which he's on, seemingly. I know this because I was contacted by an anti-fascist to make sure it just wasn't leftist infighting and to find out exactly what the fuck the story was with him. I told him just look at his Twitter, right? Which is all I needed to do. But like the fact of the matter is that it's not that you are not allowed to criticise immigration. It's not that you're not allowed to talk about things like abortion and what was the other thing, trans ideology, right? The thing of it is that largely on the left is supposed to be supportive of people to live their lives whatever fucking way that they may please. Right, that is progressivism. Now, interesting enough, that's not uniformly a leftist thing. There is parts of the world, particularly in Eastern Europe, where they tend to be more conservative. With regards to, we'll say, the older communist parties and things like that. Now, the thing of it is, and this is what it all boils down to. If you want freedom to live your life the way that you want to live your life, you have to extend that same freedom to others. Now, with regards to Leek himself, I've had nothing but 3 years of fucking hardship out of the cunt. Right? That's just basically it. It started out, he put up this big thing about wanting to start a group. He then abandoned it within 2 weeks. What came out of that was basically, I ended up being spokesperson for agriculture. One of the other lads was in something else, and then there was another lad who has, since left because he joined the he joined the military, was kind of running things. Then when he left, myself and Jordan Kavanagh, through, we'll say, unilateral vote, became the kind of co-leaders of the party. Throughout this, I would say Leek has put in maybe 2 months of work over 3 years, up until several months ago when we parted ways permanently, right? What I find funny about it is that he has the cheek to come on and talk about egos, right? Because for one thing, he was originally considered a fairly good skin on the left. He was going on about issues that matter to people and being conducive to people living their lives the way they want to live their lives. Do no harm to no one fucking else, right? Because I'm not willing to accept the fact that, and an awful lot of these people go on with shit, that there's trans ideology in schools. Trans is not an ideology. It's also not being pushed in schools. This is just invented harsh shit that they're putting out there, basically so that they can fight some very small, vulnerable group to make that a distraction from the rest of us being sold down the river wholesale. That's basically it. And I'm not, willing to give any fucking yield on that. Trans ideology does not fucking exist, right? The first, and as well as that, he's a fucking cheat talking to anyone else about egos, because all he's ever done in his career as a leftist is swan in and out of groups, swan in and out where he thought that he could get a bit of a repping or whatever else have you, and then fuck off and let other people do the work, or fuck it up in them when they're partway through it. We've had rows about him, when we were trying to launch things about essentially calling for, the TD's offices to be firebombed or whatever else have you, which he did without fucking informing any of the rest of us he was going to do it, and he did without the say-so of any of the rest of us. He went on with various other things about that, like looking for people who cut down trees to be executed and other such nonsense, right? He then went on, and we had war with him over this. He went on and he kind of did this, supposedly, like this little devil's advocate bit is a thing that he fucking loves. But you see, the thing about it is he will, unless he thinks he feels safe and he won't come out with what he actually means, we didn't see through that early enough. He came on giving out about, that it wasn't helping trans people's cause for them not to be really nice about it. And he put up a video about that. He got dragged over it. He got the whole ripped out off of him by the rest of us. And then we thought we'd dealt with. And he went on. Then he disappeared for another bit, and there was kind of over and back and this kind of shite. And he wasn't around for I'd say the bones of a year then. And then he came back, and we thought we'd everything fucking solved. Then he started going on a little bit about, we'll say, the situation with the high-pass centres and whatever else have you, slightly, but only very slightly. It's all with kind of a certain level of plausible fucking deniability here. Then as soon as we had parted ways completely, he came on essentially talking like, that O'Keefe bollocks on Twitter. That's where it came out of. It blindsided us as much as the rest of fucking ye. But we had been having war with him for ages about little bits here and there. But like overall, this'll just show you, and it's fucking cheeky him to be going on to anyone else about ego. All he's ever done, he had a platform of over 200,000 people who, of which most of us were part of. But he was there and he was talking in the beginning sense. He then decided when he thought he could get a little bit of a pat in the head from the fash that he'd start, putting in other little bits of talking points, which none of his original base agreed. After we had fucked off from him and he had fucked off from us and the whole fucking thing became was a complete black falling out. He went on then and leaned completely in on it. To which he went from over 200,000 followers to, I think it was down to about 180 and then 170. Every time he opened his fucking mouth, he was losing thousands of followers. And now he's salty and it's everyone else's fucking fault but his. Now the fact of the matter is the only reason that I am doing this, the only reason I'm doing clips or videos at all, is because no one else would do it. There was other people there involved in the beginning who had fucking platforms and they wouldn't pull the thumb out of their hole to do that. They wouldn't put. Sorry, someone came into the room, but they wouldn't pull their thumb out of their hole to go away and do that. So it went on being put on the head of people who were only there to come up with, we'll say, policy that the country and the people could possibly fucking benefit from. That ended up having to pick up the slack. I'm not a charismatic internet fucking person, but I've been forced to do it because of that, and that was an issue long before he decided to take the yellow brick road to fucking fascism. But that's what he did. He has had very little input into anything that we've ever fucking done. Anything that we've ever fucking done has been on the heads of people who actually did the work behind the fucking scenes. He pissed off. There was times there when we had issues with various things where we tried to contact him for weeks on end and he was uncontactable, right? There was, I would say he might show up for a fortnight every 6 months, and that's basically the contact that he's had with things. And now we're suffering because of the fact that he has decided, that he decided to go a right-wing fucking angle with shit long after we had parted ways in bad terms. So, I mean, this is why I'm having to come out and say this. Because, Leek, anyone that is calling you a fascist is absolutely correct in calling you a fascist. No, sorry, people just keep walking in because they hear me shouting and they're wondering what's going on. But basically, overall, anything that is your problem or that you're having issues with now is nothing only your own doing. You can't be blaming anyone else for it. And I kind of find it kind of funny you talking about leftists smelling or looking a certain way or whatever else have you. Did you look in the fucking mirror lately? Most people haven't seen you without the mask, but I have. And the fact of the matter is I know I'm no fucking oil painting. But I don't be going out talking about how other people look or anything else to do with them. Basically, you're a skinny, fat young fella with mismatching features and as hairy as a half-sheared sheep. And I'd put you through a window my fucking self if it came to it. I'm not afraid of you, right? But I've seen you come on in other videos. They're saying, oh, people are giving out about me, and I do such and such to them in some other videos. You haven't a hope in hell against, you could send a grandmother up to you, and I would be guaranteed you wouldn't win that. Right? That's just the fact of the matter. Now, with regards to, so you have no stance to be talking about anyone else, and you'd want to reflect on that. And I know exactly who you're talking about when you'll be giving out about the in quotation marks left and when you'll be putting out thinly veiled fucking threats. And I'll tell you one thing, it's not going to be tolerated no more. And I'm going to have to go to a part 2 because there's an awful lot more to be fucking said here. No, this is part 2 because I ran out of time in part 1. Now, with regards to the other fucking things you brought up there now, I often gives out about the rest of the left, but I gives out about the likes of Labour and the Greens, right? I'm not giving out about everyone else who would be kind of more on my end of things when I'm giving out about in quotation marks left. I'm talking about the mealy-mouthed fuckers who won't do anything on behalf of the general population. But now, what you said there now with regards to immigration, there's been never an issue with people talking about the whole situation with the IPAS centres. We know the situation with the IPAS centres is fucked. We were promised an indirect provision about, I'd say, up in a decade ago. But they're still putting them into inhumane conditions in places that they shouldn't be putting them, instead of, building the feckin' housing and housing people around the country, kind of, we'll say, equitably with each other, right? If the government actually went on what they said that they were going to do 10 years ago, this wouldn't be an issue now. This is being done on purpose, in my opinion, in order to inflame the kind of rhetoric that you were going on with. And that the right are going on with. It's not my fucking fault that you or the left's fault that you've fallen for the bullshit. It's not the left's fault that your ego extends so high that you think that you can go on and you can make shite of people, and that you can kind of give shite out of you about whole sectors of society, without being called out. From once you start giving shite out of you, you better be able to stand in what you're saying or shut up now. They're the only two options that you have. Going on playing victim is not doing it. All it's given is even more pathetic than I already thought you were. Now there's been months and months and months of you putting up fucking shite. And I know the other people have even said it to me. Is he talking about you? Is he talking about you there? Kind of a thing. I know full fucking well. Now, if anything, I was too affable to you, during your time in the party, and I've explained as to why in previous videos. I put on when I started talking about the fact that we'd gone our separate ways after people had started, consistently contacting me about you going in this fascist direction, and I put up a video, kind of, we'll say, very politely explaining the situation. You came on and you made 19 comments on that and acted like I was after doxing you, right? Now, I've had enough kind of playing it nice and hoping you just fuck off and go away and realise that you've made a fucking ape out of yourself. And realise that, and I don't fully believe that you believe the shit you're saying. I think you believe it because you think that you will get some level of props for it and you like being this edgy kind of creature. But overall, you can either stand by what you're saying or fucking don't, but don't be expecting the rest of us to kowtow to you when you're talking absolute, total and utter horseshit. With regards to the whole abortion debate, there's even people who would never have an abortion themselves that realise, with the state of the country and the state of the world and the state of everything else, that it is an extremely necessary thing. Because the old answer for it used to be to fuck people into Magdalene laundries. We have had years and decades and centuries of shit levied on women. And women's own, kind of, we'll say, bearing of children, which is the kind of, the first function of a huge number of women. Basically, there's only a limited number of infertile and trans people and whatever else have you. But overall, being used as a means to shackle them. That this is what the situation is. Anyone there who doesn't agree with the idea of abortion and isn't lobbying for free, contraception, for single mothers and mothers in general to be essentially paid for by the state and everything else, hasn't a leg to fucking stand on. That's whether or not you agree with it in the first place. And the funny thing about it is mostly people who are for abortion that are looking for those measures. You're going on with every order of shite. Like, you started off there a while back and we thought we'd it solved about the fucking issue with trans people. Now, you're no longer our business. You haven't been our business in quite a fucking while. We thought we'd that solved. You didn't now have added refugees to it. Now you're adding women to it. I mean, I don't know where the fuck it's going to end. But I'll tell you, the road you're on is only going in one direction. And I would say that if you haven't flatly come out as a fascist yet, it's only just because you're afraid of the backlash. Because everything with you is trickle-truthing. Everything with you is devil's advocacy little bits. You know, I mean, what the shit you've come out with lately. There's even people who said to me, how did he go from that to this in this short period of time? People who aren't even involved with us have said it to me. Like, what the fuck exactly happened here? There's people coming to me looking for news as to how you ended up this fucking way. I don't know myself. But all I can say is that anyone that is currently calling you up over it, anyone that's currently calling you a fascist over this, is at the moment absolutely correct. And I don't know what you're doing coming back on here. And the level of ego in you can be illustrated specifically in the fact that you lost your platform. Things went to shit for you here. But when you thought you the small little win, with thinking that Gavin Noon was agreeing with you, on you come again giving shite out of you. On you come giving little thinly veiled fucking bits of shit out of you towards other people. People who, when you were building your platform, had supported you. All because you think that you can get a little pat in the head. Now, the interesting thing is, with regards to who you follow, and I took screenshots in case you unfollow them, the only people that you are following currently on this new account is Ireland Says No. That says about as much as what needs to be said about you. That is the situation that you know, this is who you are aligning with. And as the saying goes, if you lie down with a dog, you get up with fleas. Unfortunately, we have fleas off of you, and we're trying to undo that. This is why we're going in, kind of being more openly radical and what you call it, and trying to do a rebrand. Because you absolutely fucked us, even though you had fuck all to do with us, really, throughout the building of the whole thing. And we are catching the flack for you, because you're too much of a coward to put your face out there and say what you fucking mean. You're too much of a coward to actually stand on what you're alleging you believe. But it's everyone else who's getting the flack for you. Because you can disappear into your little hole, and I've no doubt that at some stage we'll see you back again under some other guise pretending to be someone fucking else. But the fact of the matter is for as long as with the shit that you've gone on with exactly who you are, and with knowing the few bits I know about you, till the day I die, regardless of what you rebrand as, that will not be fucking forgotten. Now, so go off, fuck off, and go back into whatever hole you crawled out of again after these several months. The fact that you got yourself banned off of TikTok is no one else's fault. The fact that you got yourself banned off of Twitter is no one else's fucking fault. It's only the shite that you're coming out with and your behaviour towards other people. And you've an absolute cheek talking about anyone else with any of that.
Hi, you may remember me as Internet Video Man. Truth is, I never wanted to be back on this app again because it's a fucking cesspit of rage and horrendousness, which every single internet app is. And I hate the internet. Anyway, I had to put the mask back on, and fight crime like Batman for a very good reason. See, I was, if you never met or heard of me or whatever the fuck, I was, as you could say, a leftist mini-influencer with 200,000 followers, and by God, I told everyone I knew. But then, I said some things because I was noticing something in the country, and that's primarily what I did. I talked about issues in the country, and this was a massive issue in the country, and I talked about it, and then got completely banned, and death threats, being called a Nazi, because I talked about immigration. And I noticed I haven't actually met him, but I assume he's a very lovely man, Gavin Noonan, has done the same. And I've been on Twitter, another cesspit of fucking rage and ignorance, and he's been called a Nazi a lot on that, and I've seen the video, and he was 100% right. Very level-headed, very calm. He noticed the points that was happening in the country, and he said them. He had the bravery to say them, and people are slating him for it, particularly on the left. And here's why nobody will ever give a shit what anyone on the left thinks again. Number one, the left absolutely refuses to speak about anything they don't deem worthy. So if you have criticisms about 3 things in particular, they just will not hear about it, and they will never let you speak about it. 2, if you have a minor criticism of one of these three things, they will instantly push you to completely the opposite side. So what are the three things, you may be wondering? It's immigration, trans ideology, and abortion. If you have any single problem with them, this is what they will say. Oh, you have a criticism about the immigration system that's awful in Ireland. Oh, well, you must be a Nazi who loves the ethno-state. Oh, you have a criticism about trans ideologies being taught in schools to children. Well, you must be a Nazi who wants to kill every gay person. Oh, you have an issue with abortion. Sometimes it may be done too flippantly or too much. Oh, well, then you're a misogynist who wants to kill every woman. This is how they have conversations, and it fundamentally shows how immature they are. Sometimes, right, here's the nuanced view of it. Sometimes people can agree with something but still have criticisms about it. Yeah, you retards, are you fucking following me here? Let's just say a really facetious example, right? I'm a massive fan of The Simpsons. However, I have criticisms about the new season of The Simpsons. But if I say those criticisms, that doesn't mean I hate The Simpsons and I, by extension, probably don't like Jews. The writing staff is, let's be honest, it's Hollywood. That is what it's like talking to a leftist person nowadays. If you have any single criticism of anything, even if you fully agree with the thing that's happening, it just might be done in the wrong way, or it might be going too far in a certain way, well then they will push you they will nearly constantly call you a Nazi, right? And here's why that's so fucking retarded. So let's say you call someone who genuinely agrees with most of what you're saying a Nazi. What will that do? Will that make them like you, do you think? Will that make them go, oh yeah, that person called me a Nazi, I really respect them now, I'll fully agree with what they're saying. No, it will make them fucking hate you and move away from you. Example one is you're looking at a true the fucking autism causing machine that you're holding in your hand here. I don't give a fuck anymore, by the way. This is the one and only video I'll ever make on this app again. Second, let's say you call someone who, doesn't really give a fuck about a thing a Nazi. So someone, let's say, who just doesn't really think about abortion and they have a criticism about abortion, and then you call them a Nazi. What does that do? That makes them think, well, that person was a dick to me and they don't like Nazis. What are the Nazis like? Maybe I'll talk to them. Turns out your actions have consequences, and calling everyone a Nazi is a stupid fucking action and it has dire consequences. So to recap so far, the left have an absolute refusal to talk about three things, and if you ever talk about them, they will push you as far away from them as possible. Then we get to the weirdest fact of it all, right? Now, I've been around many different types of leftists, right? I was in communist organisations when I was a fucking late teens. Before that, I used to get buses up to Dublin when I was a teenager to go to Palestine protests before it was fucking cool. Anarchist groups, all of that. I do not understand why leftists are so have such egos, right? Because I don't know if you've ever been in a room full of leftists. By God, they fucking stink is the first thing. Second of all, it's not like they're lookers. Third of all, they don't have much prospects going for them generally. I don't know where this ego comes from that they have, but they fucking have it. And this ego pushes them into thinking that they are consistently right on everything. And that means that if you disagree with them, well, because they're right on everything, you must be wrong. Which means they never consider any person's point outside of what they agree with. For example, let's talk about immigration there again, right? The people who are terrified of immigration in this country have very rational worries about it. They do not want to be a minority in the fucking villages that they grew up. Because of course they don't. They don't want to wake up in the morning and 5,000 fucking Syrian men dumped upon them without any public consultation, because of course they don't. They don't want their children growing up in an area that's more dangerous because there's a load of fucking Nigerians and Pakistani lads hanging around the street because they're legally not allowed to get jobs and they've fucking forced themselves in here. Also, we are losing €2.5 million a day on the iPass system, 90% of which in this asylum system, right, 90% of the people in it have come from the UK. Now, I know the UK is a shithole, but it's not a fucking war zone. There is no reason for asylum seekers to come from safe countries and then to be given taxpayer money. There's also no reason for any immigrant to be coming to this country and getting welfare, right? Because that means they come here, no job prospects, no housing prospects, no real prospects at all, and we just hand them our money. That's fucking stupid, and it's never going to last financially, physically, socially. That cannot happen. That cannot happen for too long anyway. There are immigrants in this country who are being given housing and who are being given so much more benefits than the native people in this country are being denied such things. That is a fact. Refusal to speak about this shows one thing: you are immature. It doesn't prove that there's Nazis everywhere. It doesn't prove that, the unionists are taking over. No, it proves that you are fucking immature and there's a massive problem in this country that you are refusing to speak about. You're refusing to speak about it only so you won't be perceived as a racist on Twitter or Instagram. It's such a myopic, fucking minuscule way of looking at things that does not look to the future, that does not look to society or our culture as a whole. It is just purely baseless, very minute, self-centered view of things. This also blends into one of the other problems with leftists. Very few of them have children or want to have children, so they don't necessarily think of the future in the same way that others do. So their baseless ego, lack of future thinking, and just this refusal. Look, the left are making enemies every single where they go because of their complete and utter refusal to talk about issues that people are genuinely and rationally worried about. As Garen said in his video, the more you stop people talking about the issues, the more you shut them down and the more you refuse to speak about them, will push them to more radical movements. Then the leftists will get their want and everyone will be a Nazi. And they only have themselves to blame for it. Because honest to God, how they are speaking about things just shows such an immaturity and inability to be able to speak about things that are genuinely worrying and some of the biggest issues in Ireland right now at the moment. Peace out, I'm off, cunts.